Hi again, this is Miss Nuria, and today we're gonna keep talking about poetry and poems. We have already talked about which are the characteristics that poems have. We have also talked about different genres, such as horror, comedy, and adventure. So today I am going to be presenting two things. One is how can we say poems out loud? And two, we're going to go into a new genre of poems that we haven't talked about before. And I'm very excited about this one because this is one of the genres that are the most popular when we talk about poetry, and it's romance. Do you know what romance is? Romance is practically love. Yes, love. Love for what? It can be love to your family. Yes, to your mom, a poem to your dad, to your sisters, to your grandparents. You can have a poem of love for your country. Yes, for the place where you were born, or maybe for another country that you feel proud of. And there's a lot of poems about the love for life, love for everything that's alive. We also have a lot of poems about love for our friends, but mostly love poems are about love, for being in love, for having a special someone, and these poems are usually dedicated to someone else. Yes, and we might think, why are there so many love poems? They have been dedicating love poems for thousands of years. Yes? And we can think, what does love have that makes it so easy to put into poems? And it's the other way around. Love can be very difficult to explain. Remember what I said about poetry at the beginning of our lessons.
And usually it uses words in a way that sometimes don't make much sense or are not very clear, because what we care most about is the emotion.
When we do poems, many times we don't worry about the actual meaning of the words. We worry about the words sounding nice. We worry about making a full picture of what we want to say. We worry about making our language mm, explosive or sad or romantic, because what we care about is not the words making a perfect sense, but about the words overall taking us towards a feeling, or taking us towards an emotion, or towards a physical place. Yes? And love is like that. Um, when we're in love, we want to give something that is beautiful and that is precious and that is unique. Yes? And that's why people write love poems, to 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 show the magnitude and the uniqueness of their loves for others. So now we are going to read our first poem about love, and let's look at it. Let's read the title. It says, I Love You More Than Applesauce, and it was written by Jack Prelutsky. Now, what is applesauce? Applesauce is a very, very, very sweet sauce that we eat traditionally during Christmas or Thanksgiving. So it's a special food for a special occasion. And it's saying, I love you more than this super delicious special food. Yes? So let's continue looking at it. And it's got three verses. And the three of them start with the same phrase, right? I love you more than, I love you more than, and I love you more than. And every verse has how many stanzas? Five stanzas. One, two, three, four, five. Five stanzas. Um, okay, so I am about to read the poem, and If you can read it first, you can pause the video and read it first, or if not, you can just close your eyes and follow my reading and put all the images that I say in your head. Yes? So I'll read the poem. I Love You More Than Applesauce by Jack Prelutsky. I love you more than applesauce, than peaches and the plum, than chocolate hearts and cherry tarts, and berry bubble gum. I love you more than lemonade and seven-layer cake, than lollipops and candy drops and thick vanilla shake. I love you more than marzipan, than marmalade on toast, for I love pies of any size, but I love you the most. Ooh, very nice. So, as I said before, the objective of this video is to learn how we would read the poem. Yes? Now, the first thing that I want to do is to, as I said before we read the poem, put all the images in your head. The images are so important when we read the poem. And we have applesauce and peaches and plum and lemonade. Now, so let's go through the vocabulary first. So we have applesauce, I already explained, peaches and a plum. Peaches and plums are fruits and they're very, very sweet, and usually they're very soft on the outside. Chocolate hearts, cherry tarts. Cherry tarts are a bit like cherry pies. Seven-layer cake. So imagine a cake of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers. And candy drops. Candy drops are like the little gummies that are very sweet and they're usually covered in sugar. Marzipans are very crumbly, very sweet candy. And yes, so those are basically the foods that we have. So I'm just going to read it one more time for you, and it goes, I love you more than applesauce, than peaches and a plum, than chocolate hearts and cherry tarts and berry bubble gum. I love you more than lemonade and seven-layer cake, than lollipops and candy drops and thick vanilla shake. I love you more than marzipan, than marmalade on toast, for I love pies of any size, but you I love the most. As I was reading this poem this time, I used things that we've learned before. I used the rhyme and I used the rhythm, yes, to engage you, to invite you to see this poem the same way that I see the poem, which is mouth-watering and so delicious and yummy, and you just want to grab it all. But what the poem is saying that of all of these, it is you, it is a person who is receiving this poem that they love the most. So, can you think of something that you like a lot, that you love? Do you love food like the author, or do you love video games or sports? Yes, imagine that your favorite thing in the world is to watch sports or to play sports. Would you give up football and basketball for another person? Would you tell another person that you love them more than a football? Maybe. Now we're going to go to a second poem. And this second poem, I just cut it. So out of the whole poem, we can only see 2 verses. And the title is, let's look at it. It says, I Wanna Hold Your Hand by the Beatles. Well, the Beatles were a British band from a place called Liverpool, and they are one of the biggest and most famous bands that have ever existed in the world. Their poem goes like this. Oh yeah, I'll tell you something I think you'll understand. When I say that something, I want to hold your hand. I want to hold your hand. I want to hold your hand. Oh, please say to me, you let me be your man. And please say to me, you let me hold your hand. Oh, let me hold your hand. I want to hold your hand. We've read a lot of poems, and I don't know if this looks like a poem to you. There's a lot of repetition of the phrase, I want to hold your hand. And the reason for that is that the Beatles, as well as many other people in the world, they use the rhythm, the repetition, and the rhyme in poems to make something called music. Ever heard of it? And actually, this poem is not a poem, it's a song. And it goes, oh yeah, I'll tell you something I think you'll understand. When I say that something, I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. Oh, please say to me, you let me be your man. And please say to me, you let me hold your hand. You let me hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. So this is our poem. It's called I Wanna Hold Your Hand, and it's very basic, it's very simple. It's just the Beatles telling to the person they love that they just want to hold their hands. Do you know any love song, or can you think of any love song? And do you think that you could count it as a poem? As I said before, the objective of this video was to find the best way to say our poem. Yes? And the first thing we have to do is to observe it. How is our poem written? How are the lines written? Second, we can look at the words, see if we know them, if we don't know them, if they are pictures of something, if they're images like in the applesauce poem, or if they are more of feelings like supercars, 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 or if they are places like underneath the bed, in the creature. Yes? Then we can also think of the genre, because a poem that is about horror is going to be more creepy, and a poem that is about love is going to be more romantic. What happens if I say I have a little frog as if it was a horror poem? I have a little frog, his name is Tiny Tim. So identifying the genre of my poem is a great way to know how I'm going to read it. And not only a poem, it can also happen with a short story. And then when we read it, we follow the feelings, we follow the emotions like we did on our first video, and also we follow the rhymes, yes, to connect our poem all together. Okay, so now that you've learned how to say a poem, think of the 6 poems that we read during this time. We have read The Creature, I Have a Little Frog, Adventure by Adelaide Crapsey, Supercars, I Love You More Than Applesauce, and I Wanna Hold Your Hand. Love. You have 6 poems to think about and analyze the genre, the rhythm, the rhyme, and the intention. Think if if this poem can be sung or if it can only be said. For example, could we sing The Creature? Well, remember that I said before, in the middle of the night, in a part that's known as dead. We could sing it. Yes, we can follow the rhythm. Supercars would be a bit more difficult to sing. Supercars, supercars, supercars. Supercars would be a bit more difficult to sing because it doesn't follow a steady rhythm. So yeah, so think about our 6 poems, and you're gonna have to send a video to your teacher saying the poem. Say it nicely. Warm up your voice before you send it to your teacher. Warm up your body. Yes? And yeah, and just send us your poems, and we can't wait to see them. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.